Good morning, everybody. Matrix here, and here is my trade recap for January 23rd. As you can see, it's pretty much a flat day today, but I do want to make this a recap because there is a few lessons in here that I personally would want to rewatch and learn for myself, and I want to show you guys just to keep it real here. I had a fantastic short on Apple today, but I also had a few losses here on both IBM and the Apple Long. So let's get on with it. Okay, here are all my tickets. Now with IBM, it was just a $26 loss. I was trying to short it because it was overextended, and basically when it didn't work, I just took it off, and I never paid attention to it. So that wasn't worth much of my time talking about. But I want to talk about Apple here. On Apple, my thesis last night, I was talking about as long as basically Apple holds under this area of 154 to 154.5. I like to short it for a continuation downside. So let's get on with it. At the open, we saw the we saw Apple chop around, and it held a bottom right here at the 153.90s area. This blue line is basically the first print of the day. Okay, so I marked off the blue line here as the first print of the day, and I marked that off on a daily basis. As Apple bounced and ripped right here, this was getting a little bit overextended, so I was watching it. It was coming up and rejecting 154.50, which was my thesis. I waited for a pullback, or I missed this short, so I waited for it, and as it came back up, right here, hold on, let's delete that. Right here on this candle, as I saw this stuff candle, I took the short. My average was 154.40, risking a little bit above the previous high here. And basically, it just ran up on me. It hit my stop loss right here on this candle, but I wanted to wait for one more candle to confirm to make sure it's not a fakie. So the next candle opened down a little bit, and then it started ripping, and eventually I stopped out right here. I lost 30 cents on it. My exit was 154.74, and I lost 30 cents on it. Okay, so basically Apple, it looked bullish. The next candle, it ripped again, and then as it was going parabolic, very overextended one more time at the 155 area. So 155, I shorted it at the top of this candle at half size, and the next candle I hammered in again another half size, and then I was setting my stop at 155.11 was my stop. Okay, so basically I was looking at a parabolic move into psychological whole number, and I was looking for a pullback from there. Now, unfortunately, here's the lesson. Here's one quick lesson: is I took a loss on this one, right? I took a 30-cent loss, and then in the morning during IBM, I took another small loss. So basically, I had two losses already. And my biggest mistake here was to hammering in the size on my max size. With that said, obviously, mentally, I was very edgy, and I was looking at the P&L. As it popped up and over into my stop, I did not wait for one more candle to confirm that it broke my stop. And I just literally stopped out, and I stopped out at the top. And then Apple pulled back in the next few candles, as you can see. So that's lesson number one. Gotta wait for confirmation that your stop out is actually reached. If you size in too big, your emotions gonna get to you, and you a lot of times I freaked out right here, and you get stopped out, and literally the next minute the trade starts working. So from there, I took three losses, and now my emotions were pretty out of control. They weren't out of control. They were starting to get out of whack, and I personally can feel it. It ran up huge parabolic over the 155. So I'm thinking, okay, perhaps my short thesis was wrong. Okay, if it holds 155, I'm gonna long it. So I'll wait for the pullback. So as it pulls back, and it held this prior buyer's candle here, and I saw this buyer candle as well. As it pulls back, this candle got sucked up over the 155 area. On the next candle, I bought it, and my average was 155.06, and I bought it max size once again. Okay, so in a sense, it was kind of like a revenge trade, right? I just swapped bias. I said as long as it held 155, I would get in long. Now, obviously, when I got in, it worked a little bit, and then it quickly dumped on me. Okay, but I did see that it held the 9 EMA and this buyer's candle right here. So I held it. My stop loss was right at this area, as you can see. So basically this line right here, this was my stop loss. Okay, so I held it. As it bounced off the 9, it came through, and finally it broke my stop. Once again, I did not wait for confirmation because it looked pretty weak. I was on max size again, and I freaked out on this candle. So basically, I stopped out right there. And another loss. So that would be 1, 2, 3 massive losses. Okay, and a fourth loss on IBM. Okay, that would be all my losses for the day. Here's this lesson right here. If your thesis does not come through, it doesn't mean it's an automatically reverse bias. All right, you need to give it some time to wait and actually confirm that you are wrong on your thesis. So with that said, what that basically means is if it's not a short, it does not necessarily mean a long. And this is very important because a lot of people don't talk about this out there. They always talk about when to enter a trade, when to exit a trade, but they never really actually talk about when to not trade. And that in itself, being able to distinguish that will probably save you some money in the long run. And that's my personal opinion only. With that said, once I saw this long didn't work, and I saw this lower high from the previous high, it also got stuffed under the 155 and rejected, I once again reverse bias. Okay, I know it sounds really off that it sounds like I can't make up my mind, and basically I went short, long, short. Okay, and because of this lower high and because of this stuff on the 155 key psychological whole number, this time I was very convinced. Okay, so I shorted it right here on the next candle. Okay, and I was risking a little bit above the 155 once again, perhaps even higher day. So I shorted it, I hammered it, and I went max size on it once again. That's another mistake. Basically, if you're losing and you keep on max sizing, you are kind of revenge trading. So got to be careful about that. And as this come down to the VWAP, I paid myself half. As it came back up, I took it all off right here because at this point I was staring at the P&L, and this is the exact spot where I took it off. At this point, I was staring at the P&L. I was down quite a bit of money. So in a sense, I wasn't trading on an optimal mindset. Okay, so I took it right off just to take as much money as I could. And as it came, I wanted to make sure that this lower high held. So once it held, the next candle, I shorted it. I drew this trend line. I shorted it. And now I was risking a little bit above 155, the previous high here. I was risking 155.17 basically. So let's see where I shorted this real quick. 10.05. Okay. So I shorted at 154.91. Okay. And I went max size on it again. As it came down, I saw some sort of support right here. So I paid myself a little bit. I took off a quarter of it. Okay. So that would be this candle. And then as it snapped again, it came really close to the 50 EMA and the VWAP. So I paid myself once again a little bit more. This time I paid myself 2/3 of what I had left. So basically, it came down to me having a quarter size left from here on my max size here. So now I'm sitting pretty. Now I'm sitting pretty. I'm waiting, and I was content to let it ride back above to my entry. So it never made it there. It just kept going down. Once it washed, this heavy wash, I paid myself half on that last bit. Okay, now I'm holding. Let's see. Now I'm holding 50 shares. From here, I'm holding 50 shares left, and I was just waiting. Okay, so I'm going to zoom out a little bit on the chart and scroll through. Okay, so this is where we stopped. We were talking about I paid myself. I have 50 shares left, and basically I was just riding this, and I paid myself another 25 shares. So I paid myself another half as this first print line basically drops off and wash. I paid myself. Now I have 25 shares left, and as it came back up, I took it off. Okay. So from here, I saw a massive reversal. I took off the trade. This was a good trade in a sense. I rode it from here all the way down to the lows on this trend. And then as it came back up, I took it off. Ideally, I don't really have to take it off, but I just didn't want to. It just looked really strong. It on this green candle here. Let's zoom in. This green candle was a reversal candle, right? So we have a reversal signal here. We have a massive green candle. I wanted to wait one more candle for it to confirm before I stop out. So it basically confirmed it right here, and I took it right off, took off the trade. Now, as it came down, I drew this little mini interim support line, okay? And I saw it snap. And as it fall through this prior support here at the first print of the day, I shorted it right here. As it came back up into the support previous support area, I added in some more size, and I was risking a little bit above this high right here, the 154 area. Okay, and when it came down, I took some off. I took half off to size down a little bit because now I was sitting pretty okay on my P&L. I was just a little bit, I was just down a very little. So from here, I sized down a little bit. I was holding 100 shares. I paid myself right here. As it snaps, once again, it was a psychological number. Yeah, 153.50. And then as it came down some more, another wash, I paid myself some more because this was yesterday's closing price and I was afraid it was going to bounce from here. So I think I took it off from here. Let me see real quick. What time is this candle? 10:53. 10:53. Yeah. Okay. So basically from here, I had 25 shares left after I paid myself. Okay. And I was riding it up, riding the very last bit. And then this happened. This happened. It came down to 152.50, which was the daily chart. Where's 152.50? Right here. Okay, so 152.50, as you can see here on the daily chart, was yesterday's lows. All right, the 152.60 area, and it basically came down to that area. It bounced from there, so I was looking for an exit now because it looked like it's about to reverse. It has sold off quite a bit. I mean, basically from the top to the bottom, it has sold off. I was able to manage to short this whole move. And this candle, as it reclaimed the 153, it looked like it wanted to reclaim 153. So I basically took it all off at 152.99. And it popped over, and I didn't look back since. Now, obviously, in hindsight, I mean, had I held it, I didn't really have a reason to cover it because my entry was all the way up here at 153.81 area. So I didn't really have to cover it. I mean, I could have just waited and see if it get back over yesterday's closing price as well. So right now, currently, Apple is sitting at 152.20, and it looks like it might go even lower. On the daily chart, it's sitting at a little bit of support here, so we don't know. But left some money on the table, but all in all, it was okay. I literally shorted it from, let's see, here to here. So I played it all the way down. And this entry was near the 155, riding it all the way down to 153. That's 2 points. Okay. So 2 points on Apple, and that actually made all my losses back and some. I'm even on the day. And that's it. I hope you guys enjoy this recap. I'm pretty sure when I rewatch it, there are a few lessons that I can learn from it myself. I make these recaps not only to show you guys what I learned, but also for myself to rewatch in the future to see how I can trade better. Now, looking at this graph right here, looking at this chart, there are a lot of executions. Okay, so first thing I think I'm gonna have to work on is basically like these few trades. The first 2 trades on Apple, I really don't mind. All right, except for the sizing here. So you know what? I might just mark off here. Sizing. I mean, this is how I actually recap my stuff here, and I learn. I mark off my mistakes, mark off my chart, and I go back to the chart and learn. So sizing here, probably sizing here. I'll go back. I'm not going to bore you guys with me showing you how I recap the trade or review my own trade, but this is basically it. Looking at all these executions, I think at the points where I paid myself were pretty good since they were all at some sort of support area. Okay. Oh my God, look at Apple. It's still going. So I guess I left another dollar on the table. It could come down even more. But anyways, if you guys enjoyed this recap, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, and share. Here, once again, all my trades on, here you can see IBM as well. So if you want to take a look at IBM, where I shorted it and where I got out. So there's my IBM trade, my share sizing, my timestamps, and everything. So if you guys like this recap, make sure you hit the like button, thumbs up, and subscribe. Also share. If you want to know where I learned the trade from, basically I learned at Trick Trades, and I'm a member of Trick Trades chat room. Trick has always been a mentor of mine for over a year and a half now. So if you think this trade was awesome, wait till you get a load of what Trick does. Think about coming over and joining us in this community, and we will help you out. And yeah, that's it for the day. Have a great day. Have a great lunch, and I'll see you guys all bright and early tomorrow. Ciao.